China's ambition to become a global power rests on rivaling the United States as well as the entire NATO in every aspect of its military strength. Naval aviation is an important part of that, as it has both practical application and the symbolic power, allowing for a projection of military strength far beyond the country's borders. VTOL or STOVL jet would indeed massively increase the capability of the Chinese Navy. In recent years, China poured large sums of money into the development of its naval forces, commissioning the first domestically built aircraft carrier, and planning to build several more. It is on track to eventually introduce Type 004 nuclear-powered carriers and the Shenyang FC-31 fifth-generation carrier-borne fighter jets. That could rival U.S. Gerald R. Ford-class supercarriers with their Lockheed Martin F-35 Lightning II. But even then there would be one niche where China is sorely lacking. The vertical takeoff and landing VTOL or short takeoff and vertical landing STOVL planes, commonly known as jump jets. Those are fixed-wing aircraft capable of taking either vertically or from very short runways, a feature that allows them to be deployed on small ships or islands too short for a regular runway. This class of aircraft is very rare and extremely difficult to develop. While many countries had programs to build fighter jets or strike aircraft capable of VTOL, only a handful of those attempts succeeded. The Hawker Harrier family of aircraft, used by British, American and a dozen of other armed forces, has been used extensively since the late 60s. In response, the Soviet Union developed the Yakovlev Yak-38, which was moderately successful, but did not last past 1991. Currently, the F-35B is being widely adopted, replacing older Harriers on British and American ships. Both the Harrier and the F-35B marry the firepower, the speed and the range of a conventional fighter jet with the mobility of a helicopter. They can be operated from amphibious assault ships providing air support and air defense to assaulting troops. They can even take off from modified cargo ships, a tactic tested by many different countries, and employed by the UK in the Falklands War. The earliest ideas of Chinese VTOL jets date back to the late 60s, with several proposals known as the Project No. 6 at Shenyang Aircraft Design Institute. Very little information about them is available, although at least one proposal got some international attention mostly for its audacity, rather than effectiveness. It was a project of a VTOL jet based on the Shenyang J6, a Chinese version of the MiG-19. Its essence was to add 4 lift fans, possibly retractable, possibly with their own engines, attached in pairs at the front and the back of the aircraft. How such a contraption would work remains a mystery, yet the proposal seems significant enough to be depicted on a wall at Shenyang Aircraft Design Institute, where it remains to this day. By the time the Project No. 6 stalled, China was already turning its head to the west, with hopes to use Western equipment in its ambitious modernization program. Negotiations to buy up to 200 Harriers from Great Britain started in 1972 and continued through the 70s with variable success, as the US and the USSR tried to convince the UK to abort the sale. Both superpowers saw Harrier-armed China as a threat, due to the danger such a capability would pose to Taiwan, as well as border areas following the Sino-Soviet clashes in 1969. Eventually the talks stalled due to numerous political reasons. In the 80s, China abandoned the idea of buying arms from the West, and turned to domestic fighter jet development. The situation changed in the 2000s. By that time China had a successful military aircraft industry, working on domestic airplanes and helicopters. By 2009, a prototype of the Sukhoi Su-33 carrier-based fighter jet was acquired, tested and reverse-engineered into the Shenyang J-15, currently used on all Chinese aircraft carriers. Unbeknown in the West, China was working on its 5th-generation fighter jets for some time already. So, when the Chengdu J-20 was revealed in 2010, followed by Shenyang FC-31 2 years later, it seemed like China's fighter jet manufacturing was on a streak. Approximately at the same time, Chinese bloggers started circulating the rumors that the next Chinese jet is going to have VTOL capability. The name Jiangji J-18 first appeared in April 2011. It was a completely new 5th-generation stealth jet. Some said the prototype of the plane was already tested, others claimed it is going to fly in several years. The story repeated itself 2 years later with the Jiangxi J-19 volts TOL version of the J-20 or a similar heavy fighter, which was supposedly revealed in 2013. It also could have been fueled by the misunderstanding of the role of the J-15, or the FC-31, or the J-20. Whatever it was, there was neither an official confirmation, nor any concrete information regarding any real Chinese VTOL aircraft. Once again, the situation changed in 2019. Global Times, a strictly nationalist Chinese tabloid with a tendency of being a mouthpiece of the Communist Party, published a peculiar story centered on the country's lack of VTOL aircraft. The publication quoted unnamed experts who claimed that People's Liberation Army is in need of STOVL planes that could operate from its amphibious assault ships and future aircraft carriers. The reason for such a statement was clear. Multiple NATO countries had this capability already. Japan was modifying its Izumo-class helicopter destroyers to carry the F-35B, Taiwan's ambition of acquiring the F-35. China has mastery of key technology that may probably enable it to develop VTOL version of J-20. China has obtained from Russia the technology for a VTOL fighter jet, and will probably develop a VTOL version of the J-20 stealth fighter jet. The technology was formerly used in Russia's Yak-141 VTOL fighter. The Yak-141 is able to take off within a short distance of 5 meters. It has set many world records for VTOL fighters, including climbing to 12,000 meters in 116.2 seconds with effective load of 2,000 kilograms and 130.5 seconds with 2,000 kilograms, and a climbing speed of 250 meters per second from the height of 3,000 to 8,000 meters. A prototype of the R-79,300 engine used in the Yak-141 was sold to China in 1996. In 1998, Russia transferred technology related to the nozzle of the engine to China. The engine is a vector thrust turbofan with maximum thrust of 8,994 kilograms, which can be raised to 15,500 kilograms with additional boosting. Its nozzle can turn 95 degrees downwards with a lifespan of 1,500 rotations. VTOL or STOVL jet would indeed massively increase the capability of the Chinese Navy, making any helicopter carrier, assault ship or even aircraft carrier. It revealed that China is almost certainly, once again, working on a VSTOL aircraft, with a clear intention to operate this type in the future.